One.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Or at least it's morning here in Florida. Um, so, thank you so much for joining my list. I wanted to just kind of send the first official email out. My intent is to be able to send you guys quite a bit of information to really help you understand what it takes to generate your own leads. And, I've generated a lot of different leads, as you know, because you've signed up for my list, but I'm going to be really digging in and specifically talking about solar in general, because that's where most of my experience and lead generation has come from. It's from solar, and that's who I've targeted. So I've targeted you guys, um, you know, because you tend to have an interest in solar. And so I wanted to say hello to some of you guys. So this email is going out to all different types of people. We have like Rick and Gil and Jesse and Mitchell and Doug, Clifford, Jose, Robert, Michelle, um, Julian. There's a pretty extensive list. So my campaign, my targeting has worked. You guys have become leads for me. And so you're leads for me so that I can kind of explain to you a little bit more about what you're already interested in, which is lead generation. And so, that's exciting for me. Now, I'm a consultant to salespeople and solar all across the country. I used to sell leads by the bundles to over 40 different dealers throughout the state of Florida and in other areas of the country. And I didn't really like that very much. So I've kind of, and I will say that solar is a pretty small percentage of what I do overall online, because I also sell physical product. I do consulting for the physical product sales through Shopify, through Amazon. I do very, very well online, and I can kind of structure my life a little bit so that I can work on projects that I want to work on. Solar, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm selling solar myself. I'm doing it without a whole lot of effort, to be perfectly honest with you. That's a whole different conversation. But I know what you're here for. You're here to try to understand what it takes to make, your solar ads work. Or if you've never ran ads on Facebook before, I'm here to kind of give you a little bit of an understanding and background as to what it takes so that you can be successful running your ads on Facebook, and how that whole thing works. So without any further ado, I'd like to go ahead and talk a little bit about the imagery that I sent out in my email, my first email to you guys, to this list. And I'll probably be doing an email every other day. It just depends. It's going to ebb and flow. I've got a lot of things on my plate. I definitely want to get information out to you guys. But at the same time, too, I'm working on other projects. So I promise to get information out to you on a regular basis. So if you are interested in learning more about this, just stay tuned to your email. That's what you opted in for. And if you want to talk to me specifically, you can always reach me in the bottom of the email. You can reach me. My contact information is there on the imagery. Henry at henrymalinimarketing.com. You can phone me at 407-484-9101. Very accessible. And I'll be happy to talk to you about your needs, your business needs, or whatever it is that you want to talk to me about in the solar space. So feel free to reach out. So what makes a winning solar Facebook ad for generating solar leads? There's a few different things that go into how you would want to structure and build your leads, or not your leads, but your ads. And it is very important to stay true to whatever method that you're trying to portray, whatever message you're trying to portray out there, because the touch point that is the actual ad, and I've said this in the past, it has to match the experience, whether it's going to be you contacting them or a caller in your office, or, a 10.95 an hour hired individual in your office. You're only as good as that individual, by the way, in them reaching out to that given lead, right? So you want to put somebody very, very good on that first contact. whenever we were calling our in-house leads and booking appointments and selling those on a tremendous upsell for dealers all over the place, I mean, I had the best callers on there, and they had to have a lot of experience and understanding on the product themselves or itself in order to really make that customer feel good. The number one job of that individual is they have to break down the barriers, as they're talking to that individual, that lead, right? And they have to build a sense of trust right there on the phone. It's very, very important. But trust is built even prior to that conversation. Trust is built in the imagery, in the ad, and all of those things that go into actually, whenever you're serving that ad out to an individual, through their Facebook feed or their Instagram feed. So, building an ad is very, very simple inside of your Facebook Business Manager. Building multiple ads so that you can test them is very, very important. So what type of message should you be giving, right? So your message, your creative message, your sales copy in general. And I'm speaking specifically to right here, the save 60% on your electric bill today, by upgrading your current air conditioner to Lennox Solar AC, receive your 30% tax credit and get set for the summer energy spike. This ad was ran right before summer in the state of Florida. I was working with a dealer who sold the solar, the Lennox product, one of the many products that we've represented and worked with as far as the dealers go. And, this is information that they gave me. I basically interviewed that individual, and I understand what the selling points of the actual product itself is. Now this particular ad is an example of a product specific display, right? Solar in general, you'll see a lot of ads out there where there's people in hard hats and they're up on roofs or whatever, and it's just not very appealing because we've all seen those, right? If you can take the opportunity to speak specifically to a specific product in an interesting way, that in and of itself is going to be a little bit of a stronger lead depending on who it is that you're targeting. Now, it might be hard to wrap your hands around what I just said, but there is a lot of validity to that because I've tested that an awful lot. So regardless of that, so what type of messaging should you be giving? Straightforward messaging. If it's too good to be true, oftentimes it is too good to be true and it's not true, right? So there's a fine line there. Now, for all intents and purposes, I expect that this is true. Save 60% on your electric bill because I've heard this directly from the individual. But what do I know? I'm not going back. Me personally, as an advertiser, not going back and checking the facts. In this case, we had lengthy discussions about the 60% of your bill, right? As far as relating to the Lennox AC. And so I ran with that information and I ran with, the fact that they could receive their tax credit, which, in all likelihood, they are going to be able to receive their tax credit because the individuals that I'm targeting on the audience side, which is what we're going to talk about next week, the individuals that I'm targeting only go up in age as high as 54. They're less inclined to be the retirees and more inclined to have expendable income. I'm targeting individuals that have a higher, sorry, that's my dog, Lily, relax. So, a higher, credit score. So, the individuals that are actually opting into this particular ad are very, very specific individuals that I've targeted that I know are going to respond to this because I've tested this. I've tested this an awful lot. And it is key to test side by side, A/B testing to figure out what elements of ad 1 work versus ad 2, because it's all about your return on investment. If you're spending money on your ads, you need to be able to quantify through the data in Facebook and understand that those ads are working for you and they're giving you a return on investment. So the imagery is very, very important here. Like I said, we have product specific imagery versus generic solar imagery on the ad. And anytime that you can run product specific imagery, I really love doing that. And then on top of that, the headline, which mimics the main point over here. So anyway, stay tuned for our next video. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Reach out to me if you need to, and take good care. Talk to you soon.